Good afternoon, everybody. This is Diane. I am going to show you some journals that I've just completed, and I hope you'll excuse the glue on my fingers because I've been working on finishing up details. I did not even finish the details in this one yet because I believe I'm going to keep this one, but maybe I'll flip through it depending on how long the video goes. But I do have more to do in this one. But I had to go uptown, like to where I go to my craft stores. I had to go to Sam's Club, and I did go to my craft stores, and I didn't get too much. I was looking for some Christmas presents too at some other stores. So anyway, I got what I needed at Sam's, and that's about the best I did today. So I came home and started finishing up these. I sewed them together last night, but I still had details to finish for the things that go in the pockets and things like that. So it is late afternoon and almost time for me to quit for the day. So we're just going to show you the two that I have completely done. This one is going to be called, it's the Teal journal. They are 6x6 approximately, and they are made with corrugated cardboard, and there's a video, but they're sturdy. There's a video which I will try to remember to link below showing how I constructed the covers. So I just took apart one of my Amazon boxes. Actually, it was a large box, so the flaps were about this wide, and that's what I used. And then I peeled off part of the corrugated, or part of the smooth cardboard to reveal this. So it's 2 layers of corrugated cardboard, so it makes it very stiff and it's not bending. But the spine is flexible. It is made with the green file folder. And then I covered it with chenille. I love this teal plaid chenille. I think it's so awesome. And I think I mentioned when I was constructing the videos that I wasn't going to sew through this, but I did. I ended up just sewing it because I didn't want to sew it to a piece of chipboard and then glue it in because it would have made the spine stiff. And I wanted it to be flexible. So I have 2 coordinating pieces of fabric, and then the teal chenille. I love that. And then I put some white seam binding underneath the chenille before I glued it down. And then these are pieces of muslin that have been stamped on, and then I sewed around that with some teal colored thread. There are 3 signatures. There's some teal fabric on the inside. And of course, I painted the corrugated cardboard with white. So I really had fun making these pages, and Ruby and Pearl XO was my inspiration for these pages. I love the work that she does. Before I go any further, I did use some of my wallpaper digitals, which are now in my shop. So I'm going to show you the 3 sets of wallpaper digitals that I have. This one is called Flowers and Stripes because you'll see. So this one is beautiful. It's one of my favorite pieces. It's an old, very fragile piece that I have, and I don't have much of it left. But I had a large enough piece that I could scan it in for this digital kit. There are 5 pages in each kit. This is why it's called Flowers and Stripes, because there are stripy patterns in some of them. So this one is pink and white, and you can see the crease there where the paper was folded. Some indications that it's old wallpaper. Here's another stripy floral, red and cream. And this one just is a floral. I got a whole roll of this at the flea market the last time I went to the Barnes, and I have had pieces of this in my shop. There might still be some there. It's a collection, miscellaneous, and that is part of it. And then I've had this one for a while, and I just love it, the blue and the yellow. So that's Flowers and Stripes. Then I have the yellow wallpaper suite. So we have this daisy pattern. I believe I got that piece of wallpaper in a Happy Mail, and the cream and that one. I got them in a Happy Mail. This is on my daughter's bedroom wall and she hates it. She can't believe that I love this wallpaper. It has, on her wall, it has a pearlescent finish. She said, "You're missing that pearly look." You can see here that it was crumpled on one end. And I scanned 2 sections of it. So they're both in the kit. She wants to redo her bedroom, but she has other areas of the house to do first. I showed her my digitals and she said, "Oh yeah, I hate that wallpaper every day." I don't think I'd want it on my walls, but I love it in journals. This has yellow and gold and blue. I included it into my yellow suite. And this is orange, but it's got some gold too. It was kind of hard to divide them up into groupings that made sense. And then the last one is the blue suite. This one is a really old and fragile piece, and it is full of creases, which I really like. I want to make sure you are aware of that. And this one just has one fold mark in it. This one looks pristine. This was in that Happy Mail too. Love this piece. This is a really old, fragile one, believe it or not. It looks more modern. I would say it looks like it's from the 70s, but I don't know if it's that new, because the paper is really old and the fragile kind. So those are the wallpaper digitals that are in my shop, and you will see the ones that would go with these colors in these journals, and I will point them out to you. And I also used some other things from Tailor Made Journals. I have, like, I think 3 different sets of hers, or 4 different kinds of her digital, so I'll link her shop below too. So now let's get into the journal. This is one of hers, Lorna from Tailor Made Journals, and this. And I talk more about that in one of the videos, or a couple of the videos, where I'm decorating the pages, so I'm not going to go into that right now. But I will link her shop. This is called French Rose Coffee, because I think it's dyed, it's printed onto paper that was dyed in French Rose Coffee, and she made it into a digital. And then that's one of hers. And that's a piece of my wallpaper. This is one that's in the shop. But that's real wallpaper. Here is some feed sack fabric. And I included a vintage postcard. This one is 1922. And I have the postcard digitals in my shop, so I'm using up some of the actual postcards. This is a tag I made with some printed cardstock, and another, I think that's also Tailor Made Journals design. And this is a piece of the French roast coffee paper. You will see this used in a lot of ways. I love it. I love it, Lorna. This is a piece of ephemera that I've had printed for a while. It's a printable. It might be from Old Design Shop, but I don't know for sure. I have a lot of her ephemera digitals. This is from a book about the history of jewelry, so it's got some black and white engraving type of illustrations. And this was just text, so I glued on some scraps of journaling paper for you. Tim Holtz ephemera piece. This one has a pocket made out of the coffee dyed paper, and it's just got some sheer dotted Swiss type of, I don't know what this piece was, but I cut it up and used it, a lot of it, in this journal. And I also wanted to show you what I used for those. You'll see a lot of these embossed things. So I want to show you what they look like. I talked about them in a different video, and I will link. I got them from Amazon. You can get, at least this you can get separately on Amazon. I'm not sure about the rest, but I was looking for this, and because I saw it in somebody's video. It's I don't think it has a name. I just looked for Tim Holtz medallion embossing folder or something like that. But it cuts it out and embosses it, and it's a pretty deep embossing. So I was looking for this, and then I saw that they had this set of 4, so I got the set of 4. So this is the oval medallion, which is what this is, the larger. And it also came with this beautiful scroll element and a frond of leaves. And you will see all of these in these journals. Where does this go? Oh, right here. So I just have various things tucked in the pockets. I got into my stash and pulled out, this came from a magazine, Stampington magazine. I'm not sure where that came from. I think that also came from a Stampington magazine, and this was a printable. And then I have, I just have all kinds of stuff in my stash that I just pulled out and put into the pockets. Some of my wallpaper. This is a page from a Kate Greenaway book, a date book. Some green dyed tracing paper and some pretty lace glued on. Here's the smaller of those oval medallions, and this is a strip of real wallpaper. This is just a collage there. And this is the digital of that wallpaper. Some of the French roast coffee and a piece of mint colored lace. I used a lot of the images that came out of the book that I had of advertising cards. I just cut them out of the book. And I think that's a digital. And this is a pocket made out of the French roast paper that I had printed onto cardstock. And I tore it and inked around the edges. And this is a vintage gift tag. I used quite a few of them too. And this is a piece of vintage music paper that I put modeling paste on. A couple of digitals. Pleated paper that I got in a Happy Mail. I got a long strip of it, so I used several pieces of, quite a few pieces cut off of that. This is a vintage sticker that came, it would be like for decorating a package, like a gift package. I took some vintage envelopes and embossed the flap, and this one doesn't have anything inside it, but it kind of cuts into, so you have to be real careful with it. But I just reinforce where it got cut into on some of them with a piece like that glued on. This is a tag with a photo that I got in a Happy Mail, which I think looks really, really cool. And she tied it with blue ribbon, put a bulb pin on it. So I put that in here. And there's a doily imprinted on that, and a Tim Holtz ephemera piece. Here is the scroll piece that was cut out of a piece of green, kind of like a handmade paper, but it was purchased. It's got some of that dotted Swiss behind it, and just some more images tucked in. Here's a piece of the French roast coffee paper used as a page, and this is ivory cardstock that I stamped the text in the background and added music paper and just some scraps, and this is embossed paper and the dotted Swiss. And this is it's either a printable or a printable. That didn't sound right. You know how sometimes you say a word and it just doesn't sound right? Anyway, it's either a printable or I have that photo and made a copy of it. I'm gonna be sorting out I have a whole bunch of vintage photos to sort out and make digitals with. There's modeling paste through a stencil on that music paper. I made a pocket here with a piece of the wallpaper, that's real wallpaper, stamped on coffee dyed paper, and made a little booklet out of scraps. This is one of the digitals of my wallpaper, and this is Anaglypta wallpaper, a little scrap of it, and I rubbed some ink over it. This is from a book about Turkish rugs, And this is, got stuck in the glue. This is a glassine envelope that I decorated. This is a vintage seal again. I tucked this little card inside and it was just a tiny bit too long, but I left it that way. It gets folded over when the flap is closed, but it gives you something to grab a hold of to pull it out because there is no space there to really get into it. And it's a tuck spot, so I put this behind it, which is a printable from Artsology, I believe. I cut these out with my Big Shot while I was doing those other pieces. These are just some dies I already had. Look at this gorgeous piece of mint colored lace. I didn't do any fabric flips in here, but I did put some pretty pieces of lace. This is from Tailor-Made Journals, and I think it's hers. French paper. I think it's hers. But I got a bunch of French, like full 8.5 by 11 French papers, like receipts and ledger papers and stuff like that. I folded it up. I didn't put anything in there, but you can. And this is the coffee dyed paper that I folded over and put some embossed paper here and one of the vintage gift tags. This is a piece of green lace as a pocket, and this is a file folder. I had done collaging on the whole file folder and then cut it up into pieces. So I used several of the pieces in these journals. It's got vintage envelopes here, 1940, and this is from collage paper. I had done that a while ago. I had to cut up pieces in my stash. Here is a collage with some vintage tatting, stamping on muslin, and a couple pieces of lace. And I thought I had to do it here, so I did it, and then I just did that today, and then I realized I had done it on this side. That's okay. You get 2 spots for journaling. Here is another envelope that I embossed on the flap, and inside is just a printable, couple printables, and it's just clipped on with a paper clip. I can't pick it up. And there's a vintage gift tag. So I did use quite a few of these gift tags and stickers. This is a pocket made with coffee dyed paper, and it's just got this really beautiful old piece of crochet and cotton, whatever it was attached to. It got cut off and it still had this piece of cotton to it. The French rose coffee paper, and this is a digital. I'm not sure where I got that. And this is the third signature. Again, we have a flap like on the first signature. Feed sack fabric, and this is just a little embellishment I had made a while ago. It's got wallpaper back here and then coffee dyed paper that I stamped on. This is a tag. I stamped Tiffany & Co. stamp on it and Mod Podged this pretty rose napkin. And this was something I had made out of a coffee dyed time card with a little piece of that really old wallpaper, and I put a little tag on there with a bulb pin. This is one of my wallpaper digitals. French roast coffee paper, and then again the collaged pocket, a digital, and another piece of the French roast coffee. That French roast coffee paper is so versatile, and I love that it's so subtle. You can write on it, but it's interesting, and there's a lot of pages. I've said before, if you get a kit from Lorna at Tailor-Made Journals, you will get lots of pages in your kit. Here's another printable, or a copy of a photo that I have. I don't remember which. This music paper is covered with modeling paste through a stencil. Here's another piece of that, and collaged file folder that I cut up. This is a stamp that I have and a digital. Here is a French roast coffee piece, just a little narrow piece that I put on as a pocket, and it's got really old tatting glued across the top. Another piece of the paper ruffle. And then this is a really pretty blue envelope that I embossed the flap on, and it's got a dark inside, and I just put a blue index card in there. And this has modeling paste on it. And this is just a tag I made out of a scrap of paper. And this is an image from TaylorMade Journals. I just put my signature there. I didn't put any pockets on the covers. So let's try to go a little bit faster through this one. This one this one will be peach and brown. Because I put the chenille on the side, and this one isn't all fuzzy like that one. It's mostly the cotton fabric with a couple of stripes of chenille. And I liked that the stripes ended up right at the edge of the binding, but they're not quite straight on here, and it makes the stitching go a little crooked in that row. I just want you to be aware of that. And there's a stamped image on muslin, and I forgot to put the seam binding underneath this before I glued it down. So I folded it under, made a little loop here, and glued it here. And I glued some brown grosgrain ribbon where the two fabrics meet. I didn't do that on the other one. And there's a pretty peach fabric inside. So this one is a peach and brown, but it has the same setup. Here is the vintage photo, because she has a, not photo, postcard, because she has a peach colored dress on. Isn't that pretty? It's got gold on it. 1908, I believe. This is Feedsack fabric. Here's the piece of ephemera that's just paper clipped to that. So it took me a long time to do all of the inserts and things that I included, to either glue them to cardstock. Here's a piece of that embossed paper. Or ink around them. All that stuff took a lot of time because there's a lot of inserts. This is a piece I'd made in a video a while back, one of my Somerset inspired, and it's just a heart shape that's got script stamped on it, a little piece of sheer fabric, and a button. There's a piece of my Wallpaper digis. Here's a piece of mine. This has one of those really beautiful peach and green lace pieces. So pretty, and it's just glued to this, and it's a tuck spot. Again, a little vintage gift card. Two little, like a mother birdie and a little baby birdie. They're so cute. Those are both digitals. The pleated paper. There's another gift card. These are all real vintage gift cards. They are not digitals. I had to glue this one flat down with didn't make it a pocket, but I added this to decorate the page because I had embossed the whole envelope, and the back of it was all cut up really bad. And this one has some cuts in it too, but if you're careful, you can bring this in and out and write on it. And This is a photo I had in my stash. I made this tag with, I don't know how I colored it. It looks like alcohol inks and then a napkin. But I haven't sorted and scanned my photos yet. So I just pulled out a few. I'm trying to find my page here. I pulled out a few of them. Here it is. And taped them to a piece of paper and scanned it into my computer so I can get a start on making digitals. These are really cool ones. Look at that one. But this is one of them. And I had to trim off the border because it was too big, but this is a 1930 photo. I had to trim off some of the writing that was on it. So you get lots of small vintage pieces in here, in addition to scraps of vintage wallpaper that are used in the collages. Like that piece right there. This is wallpaper. I have to glue that. This is just a stamp on a scrap and another little booklet. This is not my wallpaper border. I believe this is tailor-made journals. There's a little scrap of that anaglypta wallpaper, which is embossed wallpaper, deeply embossed wallpaper, and you can paint it whatever color you want. That's what anaglypta is. It's a brand name. And piece of my wallpaper. This is just a journaling card, printable journaling. It came in a set of stuff. I didn't print it. And there is a little digital in there. And a vintage gift seal or sticker. This is one of my embossed pieces and another beautiful piece of lace. This is some of that French paper, the digital. Anaglypta and a gift tag. Here's another tag made with the collaged paper. I didn't put a tab, fabric tab on it. I'll try to remember to go back and do that. Another envelope, and there is something in there and a gift tag there. This pocket has a pretty lady cut out. This wallpaper back there. Feedsack fabric. This is beautiful wallpaper digital that is from Tailor-Made Journals. So I use lots of Tailor-Made Journal stuff in here. The French rose coffee paper, the wallpaper, the lady images, tea cards, and the French paper. This is one of hers. It's a tea card set. Love this wallpaper. This is Tailor-Made Journals. I have two of her sets, at least two of her sets, and I don't know the numbers of them. But you can go and see how many sets of paper she has and pick out one you like. This is part of that folder that was collaged. I meant it to be a tuck spot, but I needed a journaling card, so I put it in here as a journaling card. This is another one of hers, or it's that same, it had the pink on the other side. Another embossed envelope with a stamped image inside. And this has some modeling paste on it. And a piece of wallpaper and my signature. So this one is peach and brown. This one is teal. They'll be in my shop when the video goes live. And let me just show you what I got done on this one. This one is mine. It's pink theme and it's got some green, and I've loved this fabric for as long as I've had it, and I've been hoarding it. So I'm using it. If I decide that I don't need to keep this journal, I will let you know. But for now, I'm keeping it for a little while anyway. And there's some pink chenille on the spine. I used a pink gingham ribbon. And there's pink polka dot on the inside. I'll just quickly flip through. Here's the vintage postcard that's in here. This is 1909. Feed sack fabric there. So these are tucked in, but I have to back them with paper. So I have lots of things like that to do in this journal. But I was running out of time and I wanted to video this. Look at this pretty lace at the bottom of that. Got that at a flea market. Here's some of my wallpaper. Pretty pink lace. I put some of the vintage gift tags in my book too. It's a time card here, and I don't think I put anything in there yet. This is a real piece of vintage Victorian ephemera. I've got to put something in that pocket. This is, I did a video on this. I had some Victorian calling cards that the decoration had come off or they were very plain. So I decorated the backs of them, and this is one of those cards. This is a scrap of my wallpaper. Some more lace up there. I love that rose gift card, gift tag. There's some pink eyelet here. Fabric. So I ran out of this. I'd used it a lot in the other two journals. So I wanted it in here, but it wasn't long enough to cover the pocket, so I covered it with a scrap of the French roast coffee paper. So I have to add ribbons and add some more things to the pockets and just finish things up in here. This is, I don't think, this isn't tailor-made journals, but I don't remember what that is. It's not a wallpaper. Somebody sent that to me. Sparkly tag, isn't that pretty? And there's my journal. And like I said, if I decide I don't need it, which I don't need it, but you know, sometimes I like to keep some of my work, and it inspires me for future works sometimes. So if I decide not to keep it, I will let you know and put it in the shop. But for now, it's just these two in the shop. I hope you liked these. I hope that you will go back and watch the video for how to construct the covers. And there's even a couple videos on decorating the pages. Thank you, Heather from Ruby and Pearl, for your inspiration. Thank you, Lorna, for all of your wonderful digitals in your shop. And thanks to you, my viewers, for watching. And I hope that you will pay a visit to those ladies as I leave their links below. I will see you in the next video. Have a creative day. Bye-bye.